Hello everyone, welcome to your yoga practice. Today's class, just given the pacing and the postures, will be slightly more intermediate based. So if you're ready to go, unroll your mat and let's get right into it. Let's begin in a cross-legged position. Take a moment to grab onto your knees for leverage and just lift the top of your head up a little bit higher into the space above you, and then turn your palms to face up towards the sky and relax your shoulders. You can close your eyes as well if you'd like. And we'll start simply by observing the breath. If you want to make this experience a little bit more physical, you can use your hands, and we'll start by focusing our awareness on the lower belly, so you can place your hands there. And as you inhale, feel the belly rise up. You can imagine like a balloon slowly inflating as you inhale and deflating as you exhale. And one more. Inhale to inflate. And exhale to deflate. Feel the navel draw back in towards the spine. Now place your hands slightly higher on either side of the rib cage, and we'll experience the breath in this part of the body. Now here, as you inhale, you can imagine the rib cage opening up like the doors of a gate to make space for the lungs as they inflate, and then the doors of this gate close as you exhale and the rib cage wraps around the lungs. And we'll repeat this. So inhale, stick with that sensation of a gate opening wide, making space. And as you exhale, feel the ribs close back in towards the midline. And we'll move the hands one more time, this time bringing them to rest on your collarbones. You can gently place your fingertips on your collarbones. And now as you inhale, feel the collarbones rise up and elevate just slightly, especially at the top of your inhale. And as you exhale, feel the collarbones sink back down. Try to relax your shoulders, your neck, and your jaw. And stay with this sensation in the upper chest collarbone area for one more inhale to rise. And exhale to descend. Excellent. Now you can release your hands back down to your lap, and we'll bring all three parts of the breath together. So first feeling it in the belly, then the ribs, then the collarbones. And as you exhale from the collarbones down through the ribs, all the way to the pit of the belly. Begin with an inhale, feeling the belly expand, the rib cage open, and the collarbones rise. And as you exhale, reverse the process. Collarbones down, rib cage in, and the belly deflates. And again, repeating, allowing the breath to travel through the belly, the rib cage, into the upper chest and collarbones. Retain your breath for just a moment at the top, and exhaling from the upper chest, down through the rib cage, all the way to the lower belly. Again, inhale belly, rib cage, and chest. Allow the breath to move the body as it inflates. Hold it at the top, and then release from the chest, through the rib cage, to the belly. And we'll do one more breath in this same manner. Breathe in and try to make this the deepest breath that you've taken so far. So really fill up your lungs, especially at the top. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and then let the breath wash out, exhaling all the way to empty lungs. Great. Let's begin to incorporate some movement. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. As you exhale, left hand down just outside of the left hip. Reach your right arm up and over. Keep your right sit bone grounded. Both sits bones grounded equally so you can stretch out all the way through the right fingertips. Turn to look up towards the ceiling inside of your right elbow, and bend your left elbow a little bit to intensify the stretch in the right side of your body. You can gently press off with your left hand to come up through center, allow the palms to meet, and then lower your right hand down without turning your left palm. So palm stays facing down towards the floor, reach up and over. You can pull your thumbs slightly back behind you to roll the chest open. Look up towards the ceiling inside of your left arm. And on this side, keep your left sit bone grounded as you bend through the right elbow slightly to intensify the stretch, now in the left side body. As you inhale, imagine the spine growing a little bit longer, and as you exhale, bend the elbow, come down more. Inhale, come up through center. We'll keep the hands shoulder width apart, turn the palms to face forward. Now scrunch your hands into fists and then spread the fingers wide. Extend your arms, try to straighten the elbows, but draw your front ribs down so that you're not compensating by arching the back. Do this as fast as you can. You'll start to feel heat and sensation build in the forearms, which is exactly what we want in this one. So don't be afraid if it starts to burn or you feel a little bit of pins and needles. This is a great opportunity to remember to use your breath to navigate through any potential discomfort. So keep breathing, keep moving the hands for 3, for 2, for 1. Open up your palms wide, bring your hands together, and as you exhale, hands down to heart center. Interlace all 10 of your fingers, and we'll take some wrist rolls. Make these circles with the wrists as big and as slow as you can. Switch directions, and again, continue to breathe deeply. Now keep your hands interlaced, but flip the palms forward, press forward through the palms, drop your chin to your chest, hollow out the belly, and rock onto the backs of your sits bones. As you inhale, roll onto the front of your sits bones, lift your chest and your chin, turn the palms to face up to the sky. Again, exhale, will round, press forward through the hands, press the back of your heart towards the back of your mat, and then inhale, chest up, look up towards the ceiling, pull the pinky fingers back. One more time, exhale to round. Really use this exhale to empty the lungs and hollow out the body, and then inhale to stretch up, opening up through the chest, gaze towards the sky. This time as you exhale, allow your hands to separate, bend your elbows 90 degrees, fingers spread wide. Take a big breath in, pull your elbows back and open the chest, and as you exhale, round in, grab onto opposite shoulders, drop your chin to your chest. Inhale again, open up, pull your elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, bring the opposite arm on top as you hug in. And we'll do 2 more. Inhale to open up, really squeeze the shoulder blades together, puff the chest out, and exhale, allow your spine to round slightly. Inhale, open up, and exhale. Last one, switch the arm that's on top as you hug everything in. Now we'll let go and open back up. You can place your hands behind you so that you can sweep your legs off to one side and come into a tabletop position for the next portion of our practice. And just use this transitional tabletop to make sure that your hands are shoulder width apart, your feet are hip width apart. We'll tuck the toes under and then lift the knees. Let your hips lead the way back and up into downward facing dog. Let the backs of your legs loosen up by pedaling it out on the spot a couple of times, bending one knee in towards the chest and then the other. Now come back to stillness. For this next posture, you might separate the feet slightly wider than hip width apart, just for stability. Now slowly pick up your left hand, bring it across, and grab the outside of your right leg. This might be the thigh. You might be able to grab somewhere below the knee, or even slide your hand all the way down to grab underneath your heel and kind of step on your fingertips to create a stretch and a twist in the left side of the body. Use that grip on your leg or your heel to pull yourself more towards the right, and you can turn to look up towards the ceiling underneath your right armpit. This one is a little bit of a complicated posture, so make sure that you're breathing and pressing both feet and your right hand down into the floor for stability. When you're ready, you can release and we'll reset for the other side. This time picking up the right hand, bring it across to the outside of the left leg, just behind the calf, or stepping on your heel once more, creating a grip so you can pull your body, creating a twist towards the left side. When you're ready, you can turn to look up towards the ceiling underneath your left armpit, bringing this twist all the way up into the neck. Breathe deeply as you continue to rotate and open your chest towards the left side of your mat. And as you exhale, we'll release and bring the right hand back down to the floor, back into downward facing dog. Take a breath in and look forward between your hands. As you exhale, step your feet to the outsides of your hands. So the feet are wide, toes turn out. Sink your butt down, but not all the way. Stay slightly lifted and reach your fingertips forward in this active squat. Use the strength of your glutes to pull the knees apart as you gaze forward between the fingertips. Now we'll take a big breath in, press down through the feet, rise up and sweep the arms overhead. As you exhale, hands come down to heart center, bend your knees, this time sink down all the way, Malasana. Continuing to build heat and strength in the legs, we'll press down through the feet and rise back up. Squeeze your glutes at the top. And then as you inhale, bend your knees, keep your chest up and gaze forward, sink back down. Again, exhale to drive down through the feet, stand tall, contract your glutes and your thighs at the top. Inhale to sink back down, coming deeper into this yogic squat. Exhale, drive down through the feet, rise up. Inhale, we'll sink down one more time here. Keep the knees tracking over the toes. Now once more, stay with me, we'll rise all the way back up. Inhale to reach the arms up and overhead and turn your toes to face forward. As you exhale, take this semi-wide-legged forward fold, hang your head at the bottom. Allow your ribcage to hang between the thighs as you grab onto opposite elbows and give yourself a ragdoll sway side to side to loosen up into the lower back. Try not to put all of your weight back into your heels. Keep pressing down through the balls of the feet as well. And then we'll release the hands back down to the floor. Heel toe your feet in until they're just about hip width apart and fold a little deeper, Uttanasana. Inhale to slide your hands up your shins, pull the crown of the head forward, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. And as you exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, and step back to a high plank. This time we'll lower the knees down to the floor. And as you exhale, bend your elbows, lower your chest and chin. Keep the elbows close to the sides, untuck your toes, inhale, lift up, baby cobra, or if you're feeling ready for it, full cobra, extending the arms, keep the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, tuck your toes under, send your hips back and up into another downward facing dog. Now from this down dog, take your left ankle and cross it in front of the right. So with the ankles crisscrossed like this, you can focus on pressing the right heel down towards the floor a little bit more to really get this elongation in the back of the right leg. Keeping the left leg crossed in front, slide your left ankle until it's just above the right knee. Flex your left foot, so pull the toes in towards the shin and gently push your left knee towards the back left corner of the mat so you're making a 4 shape with the legs. From here we'll bend the right knee and lower the knees down to the mat. Find a little bit of creative movement so you can rock forward and back. You'll really start to feel this in the glutes. And then as you come forward, you can also play around with doing some cat-cow movements through the spine. To take this a little bit deeper, we'll untuck the right toes so the top of the foot is on the floor and sink the hips back towards the right heel. So you can almost imagine like this is a child's pose, but you have your left ankle hooked over top of the right knee. You may not be able to come all the way down, so just focus on reaching the hips back and down. Allow your head to hang with control and take a few breaths here. And now lift your forehead, gaze forward. We'll come back to this figure 4 shaped downward dog. And from here, we'll unhook the left ankle from over top of the right knee. Bend the left knee and now step your left foot forward in between the hands for a lunge. As you inhale, allow your hips to descend a little bit more. Lift your chest just slightly and gaze forward beyond the top of your yoga mat. As you exhale, send your hips back and up. Start to straighten out through the left leg. You can flex the left toes and fold over the left thigh. Inhale to again come forward, sink the hips down, feel the front of the right hip open up. And exhale as the hips come back, bring this stretch into the back of the left thigh. Inhale to roll forward, lift the chest, shoulders down away from the ears. And exhale, hips back, maybe work the left leg into a slightly straighter position. And one more time, we'll inhale to roll forward and open up the chest. This time as you exhale and come back, we'll hold here in this extended pyramid variation. Your hands framing your left foot. Gently pull your left hip crease back to square the hips. Your right heel can stay slightly lifted off the mat. Focus on lengthening through the spine as you inhale and folding your chest down towards your left thigh slightly more as you exhale. Now you can start to shift forward. We'll lunge back into the left knee. Keep your right heel lifted. Rise up and reach the arms overhead. Once you've found your balance, interlace your hands. Open the elbows wide and take your hands to the back of your head. Press down through your left foot to lift the hips and straighten through the front of the left leg. Keep your right heel lifted. This one's a little tricky for balance, so take your time here. If you wobble a little bit like I do, no problem. You can add in a back bend by opening the heart, shining it up towards the ceiling, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and leaning the head back into the hands. Keep opening the elbows wide. And then as we exhale, we'll come back through this lunge. Take your hands down to the floor and lift your right leg behind you. Not all the way into a standing split. Try to lift your leg more or less parallel to the floor. Working into the core as you inhale, lift halfway and stretch out through the right leg, point the right toes, and as you exhale, curl everything in. Try to touch your knee to your nose. Inhale to lengthen out, supported warrior 3, and exhale, tap knee to nose, crunching through the front of the body. Once more, inhale to lengthen out. Exhale, look towards your belly button, touch your knee to your nose. Lengthen everything back out. And now imagine you're going to do the same thing, but bring your right knee forward in between the elbows, bend your left knee, and bring your hips down to the floor. So you come through this pistol squat transition to a seated position. You can hook your left ankle outside of the right knee, flex your right foot, reach your right arm up, and we'll twist towards the left. Hook your elbow over your knee or hug the knee with the elbow. Keep integrity in that bottom leg by continuing to flex your right foot, and integrity through the spine by continuing to lift up through the top of your head so you create as much space as you can to twist and look back over the left shoulder. When you're ready, we'll release, unhook the elbow from the knee. You can cross both shins in front of you or sweep the legs out to one side so that you can make your way back into a high plank, and we'll take a quick flow. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra pose. Use your exhale to float the hips back into your downward facing dog. Reconnect with your breath, slow down your breathing. Think of this as a reset before we go into the same sequence on the other side. So from this downward facing dog position, this time we'll cross the right ankle in front of the left, tucking the right toes under, and now just press your left heel down towards the floor to stretch the back of the left leg. Keep your right ankle crossed in front, and we'll slide the right ankle up the front of the left leg until it's just above the knee joint. Flex your right foot. Continue to press your chest towards your right thigh and push your right knee towards the back right corner of the mat, finding your figure 4 down dog. From here, bend your left knee, lower your hips down to the floor. Try not to think of this like pigeon pose where the right knee comes forward. Instead, to create more external rotation, try to move the right knee back so it's more or less in line with the left knee. This will be more intense with the hips, so again, we'll take a couple of moments to move around. You can rock your hips forward and back, being careful to keep your right foot flexed, and find a couple of cat-cow movements through the spine. And when you're ready with the left toes untucked, you can send your hips back to your heels and take this child's pose variation. Don't worry about how far back you come. Focus on breathing into the hips, reaching them back and down. Try to relax in the upper body. Allow the shoulders and the head to hang, using the breath to navigate through any tension you encounter in this shape. Go ahead and lift your forehead, shift forward, tuck your left toes back under so you can lift your left knee, and we'll head back into this figure 4 down dog shape. Unhook your right ankle, bend your right knee, shift forward, look between your hands so you can step your right foot right in between the hands into a lunge. Let's loosen up like we did on the last side, inhaling to sink the hips down, lift the chest, gaze forward, and exhale to pull the hips back, straighten the right leg, fold over your right thigh. Inhale, come forward, notice the sensation in the front of your left hip, and exhale, feel this sensation shift to the back of your right thigh. Inhaling to roll forward, perhaps finding a little bit more space in the front of the left hip this time, and exhale to pull the hips back and fold. We'll do this once more. Inhale, come forward, shoulders down away from the ears, chest up, and exhale. This time we'll hold in this extended pyramid shape. You can flex the right toes, and as you inhale, lengthen out through the top of the head. Draw your right hip crease back just slightly to square the hips. And as you exhale, draw the navel in and fold over your right thigh. If the hamstring is super tight in this one, you can always keep a bend in the right knee. Don't worry about that. To come out, we'll begin to shift forward, coming through a lunge, so bending deep into the right knee and peeling the left heel up a little higher off the mat. Reach the arms overhead with a big inhale. Find your balance, and now interlace your hands. Take your hands to the back of your head and open your elbows up wide so you feel the chest and collarbones spread. Your left heel lifted, press down through the right foot to straighten out through the right leg and squeeze the inner thighs together to create stability. You can stay here or play with balance by opening your chest up towards the sky. Lean your head back into your hands and open the elbows even wider to squeeze the shoulder blades together. As you exhale, we'll pour the weight forward into the right leg. You can take your hands down to the floor and extend your left leg towards the back of the mat. Keep your hands on the floor but lift halfway on the inhale, shoulders over the wrists, reach the left toes back, Exhale, round, curl everything in, contract through the core, knee to nose. Inhale to extend, think straight line from your head to your left toes, and exhale as you round, knee to nose. Inhale, extend, searching for even more length. Exhale, contract, searching for even more strength. Once more, inhaling to lengthen out, and exhale, scrunch everything in towards the midline. For our big transition, extend everything back out. Start the same way, so start to pull the left knee in, and this time instead of knee to nose, pull the left knee in between the arms, sink the hips down, extend your left leg out in front of you, and with your right knee bent, we'll take the right foot to the outside of the left knee with both sits bones firmly grounded on the floor. Keep your right hand behind you for support, take a big breath in, reach your left arm up, and then cross it to the outside of your right knee, hooking the elbow over the knee. You can just let your hand fall, or if you'd prefer, keep the hand elevated. Again, remember you can hug the knee with the arm if that helps you to maintain a more upright posture for the spine. Turn the head and look back over your right shoulder, inviting this stretch all the way up into the cervical spine, the neck. Enjoy this last breath in our twist, and then we'll release. Take your right hand down behind you. Cross your shins in front, and we'll take another flow here so you can step back to your high plank. Lower your knees down if you'd like, or straight into your chaturanga. Inhale, peel the chest forward, lift it up, upward dog, or stick with baby cobra. And exhale to flip the toes under, downward facing dog with the hips to the sky. From here, we'll walk the feet together so the big toes touch at the back of the mat, and walk your hands in towards your feet. You can bend your knees here a little bit if you need. As you inhale, lift your chest just slightly so your shoulders are over top of your fingertips, and then rise up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels. Bend your knees and squat down, splitting your knees apart so the arms are inside of the legs. Press the heels and the arches of the feet together while you keep the knees out wide and begin to lengthen your body forward. You can think of this as rounding in like a shell curling in on itself, so allow your head to drop and hang the forehead towards the floor. You can stay here, perhaps lowering the elbows down to the floor, or to take it a little bit further, wrap the arms around the front of the shins so that you grab your heels from the outside, and you can use this traction, bending the elbows to pull the crown of your head in closer towards the tips of your toes. Draw your navel in towards the spine to really tighten up the core, and focus on breathing into the upper back, into the space right in between your shoulder blades. Come out slowly so you can release your grip on your heels and bring the hands forward. Lift your chest and forehead up, gaze forward. Take your hands behind you and lower your hips down to the floor. Keep the knees out wide and the soles of the feet together. Take a second to scoot forward if you're right on the back of your mat, because we're going to lie down in just a moment. So make sure you have space behind you, and then with the knees out wide in cobbler's pose, grab onto your ankles. Take a big inhale to lift up through the top of the head and lengthen, and exhale as you bend the elbows and begin to fold forward. Your forehead may or may not touch the floor. Don't worry if it doesn't. Remember, this is supposed to be about releasing tension. You can also use your elbows on the insides of the legs to gently guide the knees open to deepen the stretch in the inner thigh groin area if that feels good. Use the inhales to observe, noticing where the tension is held in the body, whether it's the hips, the inner thighs, the lower back, or even the shoulders or the face. Use the exhales to let some of that tension go. Let it flow out with the breath. And we'll start to come out of this nice long hold. Take an inhale to lift your forehead and your chest back up, gazing forward. Release your grip on your ankles. Use your hands to close your knees up and plant the feet flat on the floor. Take your hands behind you. I like to turn my fingertips to face out just slightly and rock the legs side to side, loosening up the hips in this windshield wiper motion. Feel this gentle twist travel through the lower and middle back as you loosen up the hips. And if you'd like to add on, as your knees fall to the right, you can turn and look back over the left shoulder. And then as you go to the other side, turn and look back over the right shoulder to introduce this twist into the neck as well. Let's go for one more in each direction. So knees to the right, look to the left, and then knees to the left, look to the right. Come back to center, gazing forward. With your feet planted for just a moment, grab on behind your thighs, tuck your chin, allow the spine to round back, and then lift your feet up off the mat as you roll all the way down into double wind relieving pose. Hug the knees into the chest. You can wrap your arms around your legs and sway side to side across the lower back. As you find this grounding position, allow the breath to start to slow down. You can close your eyes. And before we go into our final Savasana, we're going to squeeze everything in. So tuck your chin, lift your head, hug your knees in as tight as you can. You can even scrunch up your toes. Inhale, draw the belly in, and then exhale, big release. Let your legs extend, drop the arms down to the mat beside you, and completely surrender to a few minutes of stillness. Remember, even though it feels like you're doing nothing in Savasana, this is in fact the most important part of your practice. This time spent in rest, where your body is being restored and rejuvenated, is just as valuable as the time spent exerting effort. So I'll leave you here for today. When the video ends, you're welcome to stay for a couple extra minutes. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again on your mat next time. Namaste.